What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 56 of Thinktwice, the magic and pop culture show hosted by me, Justin Parnell, and my co-host, Ali Aintrazi.
Ali Aintrazi in the house? Or Hizzle?
Or Hizzle?
Or Hizzle? Whichever one you say.
Well, which one are you? You're introducing yourself,
right.
So why don't you tell me?
Ali Aintrazi in the Hizzle for Shizzle.
Okay, great.
No,
Do people still say that? I think that's like...
Listen,
that's
man.
like over 10 years that people have been saying hizzle for shizzle, or, you know.
Shizzle my nizzle?
Things of that nature.
I know what that means, but I try to be careful of words that I'm not sure the meaning of.
You don't know what it means?
Shizzle
Why don't you think about it? What does
shizzle mean?
For sure.
Oh, nizzle means like bro?
No. Why don't you replace... Oh my gosh!
All right, well, let's just keep.
What do you think about it? What do you think? What do you think nizzle could mean? Why don't you just think about that one for a second? Anyway, we're gonna move on.
Okay. All right.
So
for sure, my bro. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, bro. That's what that rhymes. That is replacement for nizzle. Anyway. Yeah, that was probably about 15 years ago, I think, when, let's see, Blueprint Volume 2, Jay-Z, 2003, around then. Yeah, you have no idea. You don't even know what you're saying.
I'm just saying.
You're just here. Yeah, I know.
I'm here.
You're just here. Okay. So,
in the flesh.
I'm here today, but last week I was at Gen Con. And we actually recorded the episode while I was at Gen Con. I have not listened to it, so I have no idea if the sound quality is good. I don't know. Bad.
It was phenomenal. Best it's ever been.
Wow, that's good. That's good because I was, you know.
Question of the week music is gonna make you like the happiest ever.
Oh, because that's terrible. Got it. Okay, can't wait.
You're gonna love it.
But when I was at Gen Con, I had, of any event that I've ever gone to since we've been doing this podcast, the most people told me, they're like, "Hey, man, I love the podcast." And it was just like, the fact that it was so many people, it was so great. And I hope I told all of you, I hope I expressed how much that meant to me when you guys said that. And it really does. Like, it means so much. It died. Like, it was great. It's fantastic. Because I hear people, you know, like, I don't know, Gen Con's just great, man. There's so many people there. Everyone, you know my favorite thing about Gen Con?
The people.
Yeah, but specifically about the people, almost all of the people there are there to do their thing, and they're like, everyone is like themselves. Like, people are like dressing up in like crazy costumes, and they just feel comfortable. Like, Gen Con is a very inclusive place where you can just do whatever you want. You do whatever makes you happy, and it's cool because everyone's kind of doing their own thing, even if it's different. You're like, yeah, I respect that because you love this thing you're doing. You love doing like cosplay, and that's like your whole world. And like, my whole world is magic. So these two people that don't have anything in common necessarily are brought together at this one event, and they like respect each other for being passionate about whatever they're passionate about. Yeah, that's really cool.
That's cool. That is cool.
Yeah, and that's like more so at Gen Con than anywhere else. Go ahead.
Speaking about really cool in the podcast and people listening to the podcast, I actually saw William Johnson at a PPTQ last weekend.
That's awesome.
I saw him. At first, I said I didn't see him. Then after like round 1 or 2, I see someone with a Thinktwice MG playmat, like a podcast playmat. I'm like, I look over. Then he also has a shirt on, this Thinktwice too. And I'm like, oh snap! And you know, obviously, I say nice playmat. Then he points to his shirt. I'm like, nice shirt too.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we talk a little bit, and he's a really down to earth guy, and like really, it was really nice meeting him, and just, I don't know, it was cool. That was the highlight of my weekend.
Yeah, and we're not like BSing you guys when we say this. That literally, whenever we hear that makes my day every time. Yeah, when awesome. I met William at SCG Con and he had that shirt on, I was like super excited because I was doing a panel at the time, and I like stopped and I like pointed at him, and just like got really excited.
Yeah, you made a shirt.
It's great, man. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's great. I think, guys, I think he automatically wins the biggest fan. Like, he owns a shirt that.
Well, I don't think we're having a contest for biggest
I'm
fan.
having He's my biggest fan.
Okay, well, I'm not a part of this contest. This is Ollie's contest. To
Ollie's
clarify.
contest. All right, my vote that I'm throwing in is William Johnson so far is the biggest fan. We need a shirt.
We have a lot of, but
we do a lot of fans.
We have a lot of
makes
great
a shirt.
Well, he made a shirt. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Like the thing is, like, everyone contributes to this podcast in different
That's
ways,
true.
and like there's we know there's a handful of guys that post that are like really heavy in our Discord because they're posting like adorable animal pictures. Like, for example, I know that Amin has all of the cutest animals, and I can't pick him. I've actually told Ali when we get to Discord Animal of the Week, I'm like, dude, we just did one of his last week. And he's like, yeah, but he's got a different one. I'm like, well, yeah, we can't do it 2 times in a row. No offense. I mean, you and your lady friend have a ton of adorable animals.
They're adorable.
But you just have so many. We gotta leave room for everybody else because everybody's got.
Garrett does too. Garrett has adorable animals.
But like there's and then there's a bunch of people that like talk about the show like frequently on social media, and it's like all of these things combined. Like to me, there's not like a contest. Like, everyone is kind of doing their thing differently, and I appreciate that. So, however you are supporting Thinktwice, we appreciate it. Whether you're telling other people about it, whether you're talking to us about it at events, whether you're making a T-shirt, whether you're contributing to making our Discord awesome, whether you're
or giving us ratings, 5-star ratings on different platforms.
Yeah. Speaking of which, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, you know what to do. Leave a review if you can get there. But we appreciate all of you guys, and obviously this wasn't like a segment like where we planned to talk about this, but since it came up, like, I don't know, it was just like both of us just had such a fantastic experience with people that are listeners. I think it's good. I'm glad that you brought that up, so we could talk about it.
Of course.
Yeah. So you said that William gets your vote, but there were a lot of other votes cast this weekend, and they weren't about Thinktwice listeners. We left it up to you guys to determine what your favorite Commander 2018 deck was. Ollie, you, out of 4 options, Saheeli got last.
19%.
19%. Yeah. Lord Windgrace got second to last at 24%. Yeah. Amanatu got 27%, which was third. And then Estrid the Masked got 30%. I mean, honestly, the fact that like the best receiving votes to the worst receiving votes is 11% is pretty good. Like, it goes from 3% from the top to the next one, then 3% from that one to the next one. Yeah, and then 5% to the next one. So
we got last place.
Well, we did. You got last place.
Parnell,
to clarify,
if you're not first, you're last.
No, you were. Okay. But you were last.
You were last too. If you're not
you can
first,
be all sorts of different things. You can be second, third.
What? I never said that. Yeah.
Anyway, but I do want to, since we're kind of, we talked about, ways you guys can support the show on different platforms. Leave us a review. Make sure if you're listening on a platform that you wish you were listening on a different one, let us know what it is, and we can try to move it on there. I know a bunch of people have said Spotify. That one's a little bit more difficult because you got to have a little more, bigger. So we're working on it. I'd love for us to be on Spotify because I listen to Spotify all the time. That would probably be my platform of choice. So we'll work on it. We also have 3 new Patreon supporters this week, or ones that have re-upped: Robert B, Chris C, and David R. And specifically David, make sure you start posting pictures of your pupper in Discord.
Also, Robert B, thank you. I sent him English tokens, and then he was like, "Yo, what can I do?" I'm like, nothing, dude. Don't worry about it. Then he gave me the podcast like, "Yo, I have to get these tokens as playmat, so I'm gonna support." So
you're gonna get them.
Yeah, thank you to all the new subscribers, and
thank you guys.
Just want to give a shout out to Robert too, because I talked to him for a bit.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you guys so very much. Okay, that's enough of the intro. 10 minutes in,
Yeah.
so we're gonna take a quick break. When we return, we're gonna talk about what Ali and I thought of the breakout decks at the Pro Tour. So, Ollie, there were
The Pro Tour.
there were 2 decks at the Pro Tour. There were no other decks. It was one deck versus the other deck.
Yeah, basically. Good.
And obviously, this was so. In seriousness, this is a Team Pro Tour. And the reason we didn't talk about this last week is because it's 3 formats. It's really difficult to even discuss a team tournament. Like, what are you going to run down every card in every format of Magic? So we just thought it would be better to give it more of a recap than a preview, so to speak. So there were 2 decks that kind of broke out, and I'm putting air quotes around broke out at the Pro Tour. One of those decks was in Standard, and one of those decks was in Legacy. Now, you guys are listening to this podcast, so you know Ollie, you know me, and you know the type of decks that we like to play. So this segment will be interesting for a couple of reasons as we begin. Let's start with Standard. Ollie, why don't you I'm just going to let you go, let you talk on this one.
Just let me talk. Just let me do it. Okay,
yeah, you can just talk. I'll let you talk.
So this was, quote unquote, apparently the breakout card of the Pro Tour, which was Nexus of Fate. Basically, Nexus of Fate Fog or Nexus of Fate Bant. And obviously, if you guys listen to the podcast, I've been going ham by Nexus of Fate and putting it in Bant, putting it in Esper. Even had some discussions on Twitter over why Teferi Nexus is much better than Jeskai Nexus. Someone actually was trying to argue that Jeskai was better. Not Jeskai, not Jeskai, but Jaya Nexus, which is, anyways. So this is the breakout card of the Pro Tour, and now people are up in arms about how powerful it is, and it's too strong, and needs to go away, or unfun, or what have you, and it's not. Nexus of Fate is a 7 mana casting cost card. Like, any card that costs 7 or more is not overpowered. Like, it costs 7 freaking mana. If when the control player is casting spells that cost 7 or 6 or 8, you're basically dead. So, and this is less erogorous than, or less damaging than like other 7 mana cards that like Cruel Ultimatum, which basically killed you, which crippled you the first time, and the second time it decapitated you. Then Approach, you cast it twice, you lose. And then we also had like Karn Liberated, and we had Ugin the Spirit Dragon, which Ugin costs 1 more, but it just ends the game. Where Nexus of Fate was like, what Nexus of Fate isn't going to do anything. Like, I have to cast it multiple times, and on top of that, Nexus of Fate needs another card to do something. So like, if I'm just casting Nexus of Fate, I'm not doing anything. I need to also have like a Teferi in play, or a flipped Azcanta with 3 open mana, so I need to have 11 mana. Like, that's a lot of
it's a lot of resources that you have to contribute to the game to get to the point where Nexus of Fate can take over. It's not just like you can just play this on like turn 4. Like, there's no world where that is possible.
Yeah.
And
so like,
even if you could just cast this card on turn 4, you haven't developed your board enough to make this have an impact.
It's just, to me, it's just so mana intensive. I think the problem is people just don't like dying slowly. Like, people don't like dying land control. People don't like dying to basically like locks. Any kind of lock. People, and this is one of the least harsh locks, I would say. Like, land control is more of a annoying lock, and then the only lock that's like easier than this, I think, is like Mindslaver Academy Ruins, because that's like a hard lock. You're just like dead, right? So I don't know. I think this card is fine, and especially people adapt to it. They'll learn like what's good against it and what's not. A card like Lost Legacy is good against this card. Obviously, you don't even name Nexus of Fate. This is the thing. If you have Lost Legacy in your deck, when you cast against your opponent, you're not naming Nexus of Fate.
You're naming whatever their kill condition is.
Teferi. Name Teferi. 99% of the time, name Teferi. Like, which should speak about which card is the card that's really powerful. Nexus of Fate is just a good card. It's the first Time Warp we've had since Time Warp that's been actually good. Part Varo was meh. It was like tier 2. And
that's generous, but sure.
Yeah.
Point taken.
Yeah, this is like the best one we had in years and years, and so let people enjoy it. Or, you know what? Let me enjoy it. So
honestly, like, you know, when we were talking about the podcast and what we're going to talk about this week, I did not expect this segment to turn into Ali down talking Nexus of Fate. But here we are.
Down talking?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You mean that, like, it's power level? Yeah. Well, because now people, like I said before that Nexus of Fate is the best Time Warp or Time Walk since Time Warp, and then afterwards I said it's probably better than Time Warp. But even then, guys, Time Warp wasn't even a tier 1 deck in Standard.
No.
It was like, actually maybe one time. Maybe one time with like blue-green turbo lands with Venus in a card.
I don't even think it was tier 1. I think it was like
tier
2.
1.5 or tier 2. Sure.
Yeah. Well, there's part of me that thinks that you are taking this stance because, and hear me out before you say anything, that you're taking this stance because you kind of want people to back off of this card, because it's like, I can see this getting too close to the sun.
Yes.
And you think you know what I mean. The Magic community, as of late, as of probably the last 3 years, has had an itchy trigger finger with wanting cards to get banned. And Nexus of Fate has one tournament where it's a successful card. It blows my mind that people are wanting... The B word has even come up when you have... the mono red deck or the black red, whichever you want. You can say it has black in it, whatever, which has been the most dominant Standard deck since, ironically, the last cards have been banned, the energy cards, and that was when that deck, prior to those bannings, that was a tier 1.5 deck when only Team or Energy was a tier 1 deck, and then every other deck was tier 2.
Yes, yeah.
So the tier 1.5 deck became the hero, but then it now is the villain because it's been clearly the best deck ever since that time. And that was in January when that happened. So we're 6-7 months in, and yet you have a card now. The origins of this card, I think, has a big impact on what people feel about it. But now you have a card that has some modicum of success at the Pro Tour. It doesn't even top 4, not even on a top 4 team at the Pro Tour, but has some success, and people are starting to throw around the B word. Do you think this has to do more with the card and the strategy, or more to do with the origins of where the card came from?
I'm hoping it's origins, because the strategy is invalid. Like it didn't win, and it's a new strategy that's popped up. So and also you said I'm scared of it being banned. I'm actually more scared of people complaining about it the whole time, and then Wizards being like, okay,
no more Time Warps for you.
Yeah, like come on, like this is like the first one that's actually good. Like gosh, be easy, please, Like all the other ones exiled themselves. Okay, well, it's nice to have one that doesn't exile itself for once. Like, let me play with
let me have this. Yeah. Let me just have this.
Yes.
But people enjoy different things. I don't personally. I hate playing against Turbofog. I really don't like it. I like attacking with creatures. Okay. So when I can't attack with creatures, I get frustrated. But I also, at this point, I'm a 31-year-old man. 18-year-old me would get really frustrated when I was playing against Turbo Fog. Now, again, when I was 18, many moons ago, that deck, then could be more viable because cards were printed more readily to help it than they are now. But, man, this is what you're signing up for. Like, I can't get mad at strategies that anyone wants to play if someone enjoys it, right? I mean, you feel the same way, I'm sure.
No, yeah. Like, I personally dislike dying to burn over and over and over again. I just like dying to, and that happens a lot.
Yeah, and ironically, that is the most oppressive strategy in Standard, and people are just mostly fine with it.
Yeah, and I'm never ban burn. Like, I'm like, I hate this. Like, I dislike the deck. I don't like losing to it. I don't enjoy playing against it. But I'm never ban the deck. So let me enjoy my 7-cost CMC card. Okay.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you play your Soulscar Mage, your Heart of Kirans, your Boomut Couriers, and Chain Whirlers and Hazoret that all kill me before 7 mana. Okay.
Yeah. It's true. So, how much of this do you expect to see maybe not how much do you expect to see, but do you think this is a deck that, going to GP Orlando this weekend, do you think this is a deck that will be played?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Okay. So, new part of the metagame?
I think so, but the Turbo Fog strategy is especially weak once people know about it. There's tons of cards that counter this. For example, I can list. You know what? Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, I'll give you 2 seconds.
All right, I'm ready. Negate counters it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna list cards out. Ready?
Go ahead.
Negate, Duress, Kitesail Freebooter, Doomfall, Sorcerer's Spyglass, Vance's Blasting Cannons, Gutter Snipe, Angrath the Flame Chained, Chandra Torch of Defiance, Walking Ballista, Cut Ribbons, the ribbon's half. You have to cut your own creature, but whatever. Torment of Hailfire, Lost Legacy, Fight with Fire, Banefire, Kimball, Council of Allocation.
I have a question about one of those.
Aetherflux Reservoir. What?
Sorcerer's Spyglass?
Just for Teferi.
Or just for Teferi? For the actual problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for But that's a ton of ways. It's a ton of ways.
Yeah.
And Gutter Snipe is scary as F. So is Hazoret. So is Blasting Cannons. If that thing flips, you're just bolting your face every turn. There's a lot of cards, guys.
Yeah. It's...
Oh, and the Mirari deck would love playing this deck. Torment of Hellfire, copy it, you're dead? Okay. That was nice. Good games.
I do think that of all decks, of any strategy you could play, it feels the worst to not know that there's a Turbo Fog strategy in the format and then play against one that you're not prepared to beat.
Yeah, that's when it's good though. But yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's part of it. And again, this was the Pro Tour. There are scenarios in Magic where it gets to the point with some people for some strategies where it's I'm just not going to play this because I hate it. Even the most competitive and spiky people are going to pick certain strategies over the other because they're going to have certain preferences. If Turbo Fog was the best deck, I guarantee that not everyone that could be playing it would play it because it's not something that people generally like. Not everyone, but there are people. I fall into that camp. I would do something else. I would be well, what beats Turbo Fog? If this is going to be everywhere, what beats this? I don't want to lose to it, but I don't want to play it. So.
A lot of cards can be that, I think. But
yeah, a lot of cards. Okay.
And the best ones are, I think, mostly red, but still.
Yeah, which is, slots very easily into the deck that's already beating the crap out of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second breakout deck from the Pro Tour is a deck that Thinktwice listeners have also heard us talk about before on the show. And that deck is Death Shadow in Legacy. The copy that finished in the highest place in the tournament was played by Joshua Layton. Lost in the finals of the tournament. And this is a strategy I am very familiar with. Because as far as I know, I am the first person to play this deck in Legacy.
Probably the first person to place well in a competitive tournament.
Yeah, maybe not
Legacy.
register Death Shadow in Legacy. Yeah, I know I'm not
Yeah.
the first person to register Death Shadow in Legacy, but I've never seen anyone.
Yeah, place well.
Every version that I had seen previously, what looked wildly different from this and looked like crap. So I made a version that was very similar to a Delver deck, put Death Shadow in it, and played some cards that utilized its unique drawback. And played that deck for a few months and had some tournament success with it, a couple of high finishes. So, lo and behold, Deathrite Shaman and Gitaxian Probe get banned. So, people asked me immediately about Death Shadow and Legacy, and I told every single person that asked me, I was like, well, I don't know if this deck is good right now or not, because the dependency of this deck being good matters solely really on one card being played, and that's Swords to Plowshares. It's not that the Death Shadow is unplayable in a world where people are casting Swords to Plowshares, but if they're casting a lot of them, if there's a lot of Miracles decks or Jeskai decks that have like 4 swords and 4 Snapcaster Mage, that is not a good matchup. I would say it's arguably the worst matchup.
You don't say.
Yeah. Decks that have access to a lot of Swords of Plowshares are difficult. So everyone that's asked, and most recently people at SCG Philly, because other people were starting to play Death Shadow and Legacy, and I had some people come up to me like, "Hey, did you see this person playing Death Shadow?" I was like, "Yeah, I've played the deck more than anybody else." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, do you think it's good?" I was like, "I don't know. This metagame is brand new. We don't know what people are going to be playing, so I kind of just want to wait and see." Basically, I didn't think that it was worth the risk to play Death Shadow yet. I'd rather play another strategy that could also be good while the metagame kind of shook itself out. So it looks like the amount of Swords of Plowshares didn't go up significantly, so time for the Death Shadows to come out.
Ta-da!
The deck at the Pro Tour was 10 cards off of my deck. Now 10, you're like, well, 10 cards is a lot. That's basically a different deck. Yes and no. The reason it was 10 cards off is because 8 of the cards were banned. 4 Gitaxian Probe, 4 Deathrite Shaman. They replaced those with 4 Street Wraith and 4 Reanimate. I'll give Josh Erlayton credit. I think he came up with Reanimate. I don't think I would have gotten to that one.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say I'm taking credit for that. However, the rest of the list, including a lot of the sideboard, specifically Dread of Night, which I had played and obviously on this podcast specifically talked about because Death and Taxes was such a rough matchup with all of the Swords of Plowshares plus a clock combining protection from black creatures, Mother of Runes, etc. It was just a rough matchup. So you basically bring in the biggest sledgehammer you possibly can to try to beat. During the broadcast, apparently, and I was at Gen Con while this happened, but my friend Chris McCurry told me he was like, hey, they interviewed LSV and asked him about this deck, and they were like, oh, you guys came up with a cool deck, and he was like, I actually didn't come up with it. We saw it on an SCG, top 8 of an SCG event. So of course McCurry was like, oh man, like that's Parnell's deck, and they're talking about his list. And I thought they were too, because I looked at their list and I was like, oh yeah, this is just my deck list. So I asked LSV on Twitter, and he was like, well, we didn't see yours, but we saw other ones that probably took their list from yours. So I was like, okay, interesting. So
regardless.
Regardless.
Good.
And this is honestly like, I don't know, it would have been nice to get credit, but I don't, this is not really where I'm trying to hang my hat. I don't need to be someone that is like making, like I don't have the time to like brew in most formats. Like I'm good at playing some specific kinds of decks. I try to stick to those and innovate in small spaces when I can. But it was a little frustrating for me to see that rewards, and this has always been the case in Magic, and Ollie, you know this better than just about anyone else that I possibly could talk to, that results are more important than innovation.
Yes. Yep. It sucks now too because like I play less. So there's a lot of decks that I will put out there that people will do well with, and I have to literally
be like, hey, I made that.
And retweet it.
Yeah.
And retweet it. And even then, sometimes I don't get credit. I have to be like, hey, this is my idea, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, as someone that does this, as someone that like, my passion is I love making new decks, right? And playing new decks.
And you're very good at it. And I'm not saying that as someone that's biased, as your friend and your, like, podcast partner.
No, I mean, I even agree with you. Like, in the past, like, I was okay. But now, like, every new set, like, I feel like I make some sort of fun and competitive deck that people end up playing somewhere. Like, the Mastermind ramp, like Nexus of Fate. Before that, it was the Mirari Conjecture.
Yeah.
I was like, just like whatever. Like, my memory isn't that good, but like every time, like there's something that I fiddle with and people enjoy, and then someone else takes it and does well with it. So usually, what I try to do is just share other people's results. Like, hey, this is what I did, or blah 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 blah. Because I can't travel as much, or haven't been able to travel as much because relationship, kid stuff, adult life,
being an adult.
Yeah, but so I know that feeling of seeing your work go to somebody else, and it kind of stings a little bit. Like it does. It just stings. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you doing work in high school, someone copying you, and then taking it to like a higher class, like a higher level somehow, and just getting all the credit for it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and it's like it didn't really bother me that much, but I don't know. It did a little bit. It did more than I think it did more than I wanted it to. For me, because I don't consider myself, especially compared to Ali, someone that is like particularly innovative with deck lists. Because I have even less time to play, so I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna play. Hey, Maggie. She's upset too. I understand.
Yeah. That was adorable. But
like, I'm gonna play a black deck, probably, that plays some card advantage and some tempo creatures and probably a Thoughtseize or two. And I'm really good at playing those decks in any format that you put me in. And I'm probably good at finding out the best lists for those specific decks. But like, if you're like, all right, here's the Mending of Dominaria and
Citrus Supplier.
And here's the Mending of Dominaria and Citrus Supplier, and I'm trying to just think of some wild card, and
Muldrotha.
And Combustible Gear Hulk. Make those three cards work into a deck. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, do you want me to? Am I attacking with a Citrus Supplier? No, you don't want me to attack? You do. You don't? What am I doing with this? What about this Combustible Gear Hulk? Like, do I just put a bunch of high cost things in here, or am I trying to like play the Gear Hulk and then attack them? And then like, what are they trying to kill the Gear Hulk? And I'm that's just like not my area.
Confused. Yeah. I am confusion.
Yeah, exactly.
Justin Parnell hurts himself.
Yeah.
Confusion.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what would happen. And I'm capable of playing those decks if they're given to me. Like, I've played combo decks before. Honestly, some like frequently that like Olive made. And like, that's fine.
You played back and decks too.
Yeah, I can
blue black and deck for a while.
Yeah, and I've had success with a lot of decks that you've made, but I'm not making those decks. Like, if I make those and I'm like, yeah, let me show Ali, and I take out like a Doomblade for a Duress, and I'm like, yeah, that's my contribution. Need a little more discard in this deck. But that's it. So, I don't know. I guess I wish I would have gotten credit. I'll be honest with all of you listeners, but next week, after, the Magic world has moved on to something else, it'd be fun. I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah. I'm just still imagining you trying to play Puzzle Gear Hulk.
What am I doing? Yeah. So I don't know. That's probably a good stopping point for this format.
Yeah, I think it was good. It was definitely good.
All right, let's get to Modern. Great, nothing new happened in Modern. A bunch of cards that were broken are still broken. Cards that weren't are still unplayable.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Vengevine's here. Hollowed Ones, Tron, KCI.
I do want to point out that the Vengevine, like the Bridgevine deck that people are freaking out about, that deck has been around for a while. Nothing new is in it. It's just that people are not playing an appropriate amount of graveyard hate. Once that gets corrected, you know why people aren't playing an appropriate amount of graveyard hate? Because Tron doesn't care about the graveyard, and neither does Burn, the decks that beats Tron. So now you're seeing the cycle of the ramp deck, the aggro deck, and the combo deck. And they're just doing this dance. And then sometimes the mid-range deck and the control deck are like, hey, we want to play fair Magic. And they're like, shut up, you. We're trying to do unfair stuff. Who will do it in the most unfair way?
Yeah. It's crazy because, like, finally the control deck has an unfair card in their deck. The blue control deck finally has oops, turn 2 right at the board, turn 3 right at the board, and that's how they win. The control deck finally has a free win condition, or oops, I win button with Terminus.
Yeah, sure.
Like going like turn 2 oops Terminus is like same going as dropping. Oops, sorry, same as dropping like multiple Hollowed Ones or whatever. So it's
great. I guess either way, point is, the more things change in Modern, the more they stay the same. This deck is good. It will be good for a while. It's probably not going to be the best deck when people put Leyline of the Void into their sideboard. Yeah. I mean, you're still going to have Hollowed One, but yeah, it's fine. It's a fine deck. I'm glad it exists. Cool. I want as many decks to exist as possible since I play the format every once in a while. I'm just going to play 1 or 2 decks and that's it. So have at it. Yep. Cool. All right.
Yep. Modern's still great. Modern's still broken, but there it goes.
It is. It's more broken than Legacy. People just don't want to admit that. Yeah, it is. But
definitely is.
Yeah, it is by a lot. People just don't want to say. But yeah. Anyway, okay. All right. That's our PT review. So we're gonna take a quick break. When we return, the Chronicles of Bolas Perspectives.
So we come back to the story. And it's called Perspectives because Bolas has encountered Navia. And he's basically... And she's just saying, oh, Ugin's your brother. Talking about Ugin and talking about how he's dead and how they're related. And she's basically saying things that Bolas is... making Bolas upset. He's like, no, that's not true. Let me tell you how it really went down. And then he started playing a rap song. Or however you do it. He started rapping for her.
Oh, dude, you... Anyway.
Alright, so he tells her, he recounts his glory days. When he was... He's basically saying when he was born, he was not born with Bolas. And when he fell, he was the first one to spread his wings. And he helped Ugin from basically dying because he flapped his wings and... made Ugin wake up and realize he was falling. He woke him from sleeping. The entire story is just very self-centered and talks about him and how like glorious he is and how nice he is and how he was the first one to do this, first one to do that, first one to step on the earth and claim so-and-so as his. And he portrays Ugin as a jealous Elder Dragon that's jealous of what he knows and what he has. And it makes him as like the innocent, nice bystander. Like basically the dragon that loves humans and dragons, but wants the humans in another place, but he's still like a good person. It's kind of weird because he contradicts himself a lot in the story. He says like how Ugin disappeared in front of him and then came back and then disappeared again, but then he speaks about how he was the first one to planeswalk, even though he just literally described Ugin planeswalking before him. So there's a lot of like things where he like lies, and
lies in obvious ways, not in ways that he's lied before, where he's trying to deceive. This is just like
it's like stupid lies. Honestly, it's like being stupid, and not it's not like conniving lies and lies that are trying to like manipulate you. It's just like,
he's like
someone lying to you and
the sky is green.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks blue, but no, the sky's green. Okay, yeah, got it.
Exactly. So it talks about how he also talks about how he ignited a spark. He ignited a spark by being like very angry at Ugin and being in so much. He says, "I'm in rage." Then rage all caps. Then he ignites. He goes to meditation realm. Then he like travels back to Dominaria, and he plants a seed of deceit in Arcades, telling him, "Hey, your followers probably will betray you. You should probably get people to rat out people so that you can reward them and then kill the ones that are betraying you." And then he leaves. And then finally, he starts walking the plains. He finds Ugin one time in his meditation realm, and he's talking to Ugin, and he says Ugin just attacked him without saying anything lustfully and wants to like kill him. And he talks about how he fought Ugin through countless planes and for years across the multiverse. And finally, they come back to the meditation realm, and that's where he slams Ugin into the water and like kills him. After he kills Ugin, he's apparently thrown back in Dominaria, where the Elder Dragon War is over and there's peace. And that's basically where that's basically where he ends. Then he goes back to where he's talking to Navy, and he tells her. He starts playing with the seeds of death she has. He's like, "Your grandma doesn't like you. She likes Bayasha more. You should have power. You're a hunter. People need you for food. And you should be proud of that. Like, I can give you everything you need if you just tell me where Yasova is and where Bolas' body is." He promises her, basically promises all of Tarkir and power over all of Tarkir. Navia tells him where Yasova is, and then she goes into the Hedrons and pulls out a knife and presses against her unconscious sister, Bayasha's throat. And that's where the story ends.
So, to clarify something from last week, I incorrectly convinced you that this story took place in a different timeline than it did.
Yeah.
But you believe me, so now you're just as wrong as I am.
Well, yeah. So I was right.
Oh, but most recently you were wrong, so we're both wrong.
Okay.
So we want to apologize jointly.
We're done with you.
Jointly, Ali and I, who were both very wrong, equally as wrong, just as though Bolas and Ugin fell equally as twins to the earth. Unless, Ali, you want to say that that's not true, much like Bolas, who you've already said has been a liar.
Bolas is a liar.
Okay. No, you're not, though.
I'm not, no.
Great, so okay. we're at equal fault.
Sure.
And we apologize equally.
I apologize equally.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway, yeah, so again, time travel. Guess it's tough. Anyway,
it's still, time travel. Guess what? Time travel, still confusing.
Still confusing. Confusing as always. So, Bolas in this story. What? This is, I don't know. This I think has been my least favorite story of these.
Yes. Go ahead. I'll let you talk first.
Okay.
I'll talk.
Okay. Because I don't understand the point. I understand. Okay, so the point being, like, I understand what Bolas' motivation is. He's trying to get information out of Naisha.
Nivea, right?
Yes. So, yeah, I think I combined their names. Nivea. Yeah. Trying to get information out of her to find Yasova and turn her against her sister to to basically just control her as he does to humans. But we're the reader in this story, right?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, and that sounds obvious, but the reason I'm bringing this up is like the point is to like show us something that we don't know, or show us character traits of a character that we're unfamiliar with, or advance the story in some way. I don't think this story does any of those things, and I think it backtracks on some of them. It doesn't really develop Bolas in any way, and it doesn't have to be sometime in the present time to do that, because you can find out more information about a character that happened in the past, and you're like, okay, well that makes more sense about their motivations now. But that doesn't really happen. Bolas, I'm sure you'll talk more about this, but Bolas seemed,
Yeah. It's fine, good.
He seemed a little. He seemed smarter in the story that Ugin was telling than the story that Bolas told himself. And I just don't know. I don't know what the point of this story was. Like, I don't think it got us anywhere, really.
It, like, there were some things that overlapped between Ugin's story and Bolas' story, but they were very minimal. And what really bugged me was, like, again, Bolas appeared very stupid when he's telling a story where he contradicts himself multiple times, where he says he's first to planeswalk, but then talks about how Ugin's literally planeswalking before he even planeswalked.
He literally describes it. Describes it just as Ugin described it.
Right. And the Bolas we know is a very smart person that literally plans for years and years and years ahead. Like, he planned Amonkhet during the mending. Like, who knows how much time has passed since that. Like he is like a planner to the T. And you're telling me that this is how he like talks? Like, this is how he tells a story? It seems very like not composed at all.
He sounded like
Bolas.
He sounded so arrogant and full of himself. And this is not young Bolas either that we're hearing in this story. This is like middle-aged Bolas.
Yeah.
So,
like, the Bolas we saw in Amonkhet, the one where he was like, where his red showed, like, he was obviously, his blue showed of like how cunning he is, how sneaky and manipulating he is, and the black showed how he cares less about like,
he's completely self-centered.
The black, self-centered. Also, he basically just, what was the black god's name?
The scarab god.
No.
Bontu.
Bontu. Like she did literally his work for centuries, and he just like tossed her aside. He didn't care. And then his red side came out, and he was like, I'm still a dragon. Like, he roars, he flies in the air, and he's like, like, I'm still a dragon. And that is literally the Bolas that, yes, I agree, that's the Bolas I know. That's the Bolas I've known.
Yeah.
And here, the red seemed like he was just arrogant and not very smart. And
like, stupid, really impulsive, really able to be
and manipulated by, like,
this human manipulated his emotions like immediately.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And that like surprised me. I was just
me too.
And it didn't seem like I felt like there's times when we interact with Bolas through the story that it seems like it looks like he's being like tricked, and he's not. He's the one doing the tricking. That didn't seem like that was the case here, did it? It's like, I don't think he is appearing to be frustrated by this human for any gain. I think he actually just was.
I agree.
That was the thing that didn't make any, like, I couldn't figure that out. I was like, in the story that Ugin was telling, even from the beginning of the story when they were born till the very end, when they sat on the mountain and Ugin ultimately planeswalked away, he even noted how Bolas had changed from when he was a young dragon. And we know, obviously, this is a significant amount of time after that. And we don't see that. Like, like Bolas is clearly very frustrated and gets frustrated
Yeah.
very easily, even by human, which is like so below him.
He's also asking a lot of questions where he could just like literally read her mind and find out everything.
Yeah, and he does,
Like-
and that's the thing. He does read her mind during that.
Yeah,
because
but-
he literally says stuff that she's thinking to herself.
towards the end.
Yeah, but
But
like,
in the
but then, like, where was that before? Like, you didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's not like you were like. It's not like you needed to be on the cell phone so you could track the signal for 5 minutes before you could read her mind. You can just do it.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
freaking Nicol Bolas, man.
yeah. I really hope this is just like not the. I hope they're not reworking Nicol Bolas to be like this type of character. I hope it's just like
I don't
back.
think they are, because it hasn't seemed like that's been the case in the prior stories.
Yeah.
What do you make of the like his story about killing Ugin on the meditation plane? Because we know that's not true either.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was just
Like he killed
Like,
him on
almost stupid. Like,
killed him on Tarkir. And
we
that-
know the bones are in Tarkir. How in the world did you kill him in a meditation realm and send his bones to
Well,
Tarkir? Like,
and
come
we
on,
know
dude.
the specific story of how Bolas killed Ugin.
Yeah.
Like, we know that through a reliable character because we see that through Sarkin's eyes. It's not like Sarkin's telling us the story. It's that he went back in time and witnessed that. So we know exactly what happened.
And the only thing he rewrote wasn't how Ugin died. He literally just rewrote saving Ugin. Like, when Sarkin traveled, he like make Ugin die on the meditation realm instead of Tarkir. He literally
Yeah.
saw Ugin still die in Tarkir.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
mortally wounded. He just went and helped him.
Yeah.
So the way he died,
And we
didn't change
know
at all.
that's where the timeline that we're in, because they're in the Hedrons right now.
Yeah.
So that's really confusing. Because like as a reader, I'm like, well, we know this isn't true. Like, what is the point of this? And it's not like he has no reason to lie. Why would he lie to Navia? She doesn't know one way or the other. So what difference does it make? Like, what difference does it make to be dishonest with her? She's not. She's never going to see another plane, as he pointed out very clearly.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Like, what difference does that make? Just you killed him on Tarkir. There's a battle on Tarkir, right where we are, and he's died here. I thought this is where he died.
I do think some things are kind of cool because the things they both alluded to that were definitely true are obviously are definitely true. But what I'm trying to say is like,
yes, no, that's really important. You're totally right.
Like there were things that he said, Ugin taught, or there was a mage or wizard lady that taught Ugin about other planes and conjuring the spheres and stuff. So we know for sure that's 100% true.
Yeah.
So I think we take Ugin's story and Bo's story and see which ones overlap
and
are
overlap
right.
them, and everything that they both said we know is true.
Yes, agreed. And I think that'd be cool to do.
Yeah, that would be interesting for sure.
Yeah,
that'd be very interesting. Also, I thought this was really weird. And this, again, it just didn't make any sense to me. So he's starting to tell the story, and he's like, in the beginning, there were 6 dragons. And she's like, 6? We mean 6 dragons. There's more than 6 dragons. And he's like, shut up. There were only 6 dragons. But then...
Don't up me.
But then he tells the story. But then as he's telling the story, he's like, but I had to go back to avenge my sister that died. You mean the sister didn't exist because there were only 6 dragons?
Yeah.
He references Marivia Saul later in the story.
He contradicts himself so much. It's absurd.
But why? Unless he thinks that Ugin is listening, and he's, I don't know. Like, I just can't figure it out. And it didn't get this, like I said before, it didn't get the sense that like Bolas is like outsmarting the characters in the story and the readers to like be deceptive or trying to misdirect us. He just sounded like arrogant and dumb.
Yes. Agreed. And easily emotionally manipulated.
Yeah. I don't get the line. I just don't. The line I don't get. It's different if you're lying to a planeswalker because they can like, I don't know, kind of fact check you in a way.
Yeah.
Like they can go to another plane and like find out information. But like you're literally you're telling the story to a person that most likely is never going to see another human being again because you're going to kill them. So why are you lying? Why are you making up this story?
Because he's
Like,
it's a different Bolas. It's not one I'm used to. So yeah.
Yeah. Is this Bolas character is he's so arrogant that he's created this narrative in his head that he's playing back. Because as Navia said, Bolas likes to hear the sound of his own voice. We know that's still true to this day.
Yeah.
That you're playing back this narrative in your head that you've created. Basically, it's like he's selling himself this lie, right? Maybe that's what it is. But
I don't know.
Again, but why? Like, what purpose does that serve? Like, if he's smart enough to be able to be the most like brutally efficient mind mage in the multiverse, which we have good reason to believe that in current time, around Dominaria / Ixalan time, that is the case. That's a pretty far stretch from the Bolas that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, there's there's 2 more episodes, or 2 more episodes left, or 2 more stories left, right?
Yeah, I believe this was number 6, so there's 2 more.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but
yeah, can't.
Also, I'm not sure where this is going. The story, really, like, it's weird because in the past, right? So, like, I guess it's supposed to tell us more about Bolas, but I still don't know that much about Bolas. Like,
no, because he's just now showed up. Yeah. This is essentially the only. We got about a.
I know what Ugin said.
We know have learned significantly more about Ugin in this story than we have about Bolas by a lot.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. I think it's still great.
No, I don't
story.
either. Yeah, and that does not take away from the story that has been told and is being told. But
yeah, but since
it's
Ugin's
still
story,
called the Chronicle of Bolas.
Yeah.
And Bolas is the primary character in Magic right now. Would you agree with that? As far as how they're telling the story?
Yeah.
I mean, he literally had a whole block about him. He's going to be the central focus of the coming block, the coming 3 sets.
Yes, absurd.
He's the central figure of this set. Yeah, so I don't know. That I don't know. Maybe just a weird disconnect from this story. I'm not throwing it out. I'm more than willing to let it get back into the groove and sell me on why this story sounded like it did next week. And if that happens, then I'm totally fine. And we can just keep on moving on. But hopefully it moves forward rather than backwards, because I felt like this would move backwards a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens. It's just so weird too, because like Nivea seemed like she was like kind of fighting Bolas. Now she's not. I don't know. It's just I'm interested to see where it goes. I am definitely interested to see where it goes, but we'll just say I don't know.
Yep, me too. Okay, cool. All right, anything else?
Nope. That's it for the Chronicles of Bolas perspectives.
Okay, excellent. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we return, Mission Impossible Fallout. So I was going to start this segment with doing the Mission Impossible theme music, just like with my mouth. But then I decided not to. I didn't believe in myself enough to do it. So I want you to just pretend that I did it, and then like react accordingly.
Okay. Whoa!
Wow! Yes, thank you.
That was pretty good, man. That was pretty good.
I know. Well,
I know.
Oh, you're too kind.
I mean, I don't know how you did that. You have to do someday.
Oh well, I mean, some secrets have to remain hidden.
Okay. All right. I see how it is.
No, well, I mean, look, you were impressed. I think we should leave it at that.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for being such a good friend. Anyway, so Mission Impossible Fallout. This is the 6th film in the Mission Impossible franchise. Now, Ollie,
so many.
So many. This is non-spoilers for right now. We'll get to spoilers in a second. I imagine you have not seen all of the previous Mission Impossible movies.
No.
Have you seen any of them?
Maybe. It's too
Okay,
long.
that's a fair question. That's a fair answer. It's a fair answer. So why don't you, without spoilers, tell me what you thought of this?
Action, action, impossible, mission, action, impossible. Save the world. I don't know. It's literally like cars, action, motorcycle, gunshots, action, karate. Like the mission's like literally impossible, but I guess that's what's called Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
There are like things that like I don't like make sense. Like I feel like there's some characters that I needed to watch a couple movies before to really understand. But I got it.
Yeah.
You don't really. It's not like a very deep story.
No, you don't need to. You're not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed this thing in this prior movie. It's ruined for me now. You can still just watch it.
Yeah, but it's literally just like, man, if you like action, go watch this movie.
No doubt.
If you like Impossible, go watch this movie. Like, I got a lot to say because.
Okay, no, good. That's good. So, the movie follows. So, if you've seen the other Mission Impossible, if you've seen and enjoyed any previous Mission Impossible movies, you'll enjoy this one just straight up. It is exactly what you were expecting, like Ali said. In my opinion, this is the best action movie franchise that exists. And I'm not big on action movies. Like, that's probably like my least favorite genre of movie. But I do generally enjoy the Mission Impossible movies. I don't think they're like phenomenal movies or anything, but I like them. Some I like more than others, but they're fun. This follows kind of the same script of a lot of missions. And in the beginning, you're like, this mission is possible. It's probably possible. Okay, this one seems possible. All right, this one seems difficult, highly difficult, but also possible. And then at the end, you're like, oh, this is the one that's impossible. There's no way they can do this one. I'm not going to tell you if they do or not, because that would ruin it. But those are how the missions are set up. Mission possible, mission possible, mission possible, mission possible, mission impossible in the movie, in that order, specifically. This is the first, in my opinion, Mission Impossible movie where you are really incentivized to see the one prior to this one, okay. Which I actually was not expecting. I didn't, because none of the rest of them, you literally, seeing the prior movie, did you almost no good. Like, there were a couple of characters, but it's not like you didn't need to know about them. Like, you just there they are. Yeah, you've seen these people before. That's fine. This one had the most story connections from the previous movie, which.
Yeah, I noticed that too. But I should watch.
Yeah, and that's fine, because it didn't. I can't remember if the last one was Ghost Protocol or Rogue Nation because they stopped numbering them. I'm gonna look it up real quick just to be 100% sure.
Okay.
The last one was Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, and like some of the people come back, not all of the people come back. But there's the most. I think there's the most people that were in the last film that are in this one also. So I guess there's that, but you don't. But like Ollie said, you don't need to have watched any of the other movies to know this one. So it's really enjoyable for an action movie. If you want action, this is, as far as I'm concerned, the best action film franchise that you could be watching. So, on a scale of 1 to 5,
I don't know.
Okay. Where are you putting Mission Impossible Fallout before we get to spoilers?
1. Sorry.
1? Really?
Maybe I guess okay. You know what?
Honestly, that's surprising. Like, okay,
I'll do two. I'll do two. I'll do two. I'll do two because like I'll do two because it is a good action movie. It's just that I don't like action movies, and my favorite action is not even this stuff. It's the like what was it, Jurassic World? That was action too, and I loved it. Like I love that one like a lot.
So you want more like sci-fi or fantasy action?
Action, yes, correct. This was this was like a. I'll give it two. One is harsh because it's still a good action movie, but it's just like doesn't hit any of my points. Like doesn't hit like anything like. But I'll get more than the spoilers.
Okay. No, all right. That's fair. One, I was gonna call BS. I was like, this is. I was like, this movie's not bad.
One is harsh.
It's just like
one
not.
Is harsh. You're right.
Yeah, it's just like not up your alley.
It's not unwatchable. Yes, it's just two. I think two's good.
Okay. All right. I'm going back. I'm going between two ratings. I'm trying to decide on one. I think I'm gonna give this a 3 stars out of 5. But it's high. It's high on 3 stars for me.
Okay.
Because I generally like movies where you have to pay attention and you're rewarded for details, and the acting and the writing is excellent. And this is a departure from that. This is just pure action. You don't have to. You're all to enjoy this movie. Your brain simply has to be functioning, not at a high level, just at all.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
yeah,
and I think that's okay. I'm glad those movies exist because like it takes. Okay, the last movie that we talked about was City of God. Yes. That's a movie that takes a lot out of you as a human being. This is a movie that takes nothing out of you.
Nothing at all.
So exactly. So I can appreciate that. I can appreciate palate cleanser movies where it's just like a bunch of stuff blowing up and Tom Cruise running for like 12 and a half minutes of the movie combined. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm in for that. All right. Ready for spoilers?
I'm ready.
Okay. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. All right, we're now in spoilers.
All right, thank God. Okay, so what the crap? Every time someone's driving a freaking car, the good guys, there's an intersection. There's cars going everywhere. Like they're like, dude, they're zooming. They're zooming. They're zoom.
They're zoom. Yeah, big zoomy.
And
big time
the
zoomies.
good guy just doesn't slow down. Literally just easily pass all the cars. They don't have
time for that, man.
Okay, they all break. They all slow down. They all hit each other, and always magically block off the enemy. This happens like 4 or 5 times, and it's just like, come on, one time get hit or something. Like, it's just crazy how like it's like they're slicing. It's like a hot knife slicing through butter. It just they easily pass. The cars just like bunch up. All of a sudden, the enemy is blocked off. Jeez, it's ridiculous. I understand. It's like Mission Impossible, and then also Ethan, the mission guy, the Impossible dude. Yeah. He's always like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. And it was like, yeah, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And he always does it.
Of course.
It's like, I feel like I'm Borat. And Borat's talking about like his like, he's going to do it. He's going to get it. He's going to get it one day. He's going to get it. And then one day he gets it. He breaks out the cage and gets it. Like, they don't, he always does it.
Yeah, that's the great part about the movie.
No, it's not.
Why is it not?
And then the kicker is the very end where this freaking handheld remote control is flying through the air in a helicopter, and he literally has to like get on a helicopter, kick 2 people out, drive the helicopter. It's leaking oil. It's breaking. It's on fire, and he's able to like magically dodge all these bullets, not die to the bullets. Hit the other helicopter, land in the same area, like, and then like end up fighting the guy, beating the guy, and climbs up the cliff, and then clips the freaking wire at 1 second, or like it's like.
To be fair, they talked about it whether it should be at 1 or 2 seconds.
Oh my god! Still though, it's so cliche. It's so cliche. He was literally Superman without powers, because he was like, he's gonna do it, and like, so what I learned is he lost his last relationship too because he's Superman and he just saved the world. Like, it's literally Superman. She's like, yeah, we can't date because you can save the world.
Well, one they were married, but sure,
whatever. But same concept.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, I can't be here and have a family with you because I gotta save the world. And if I'm not doing it, nobody else can do it because I'm Superman. And that's what it was. Sorry, one more thing.
No, go ahead.
So it got to a point where I just found it hilarious. Like,
it is. It's hilarious. See, that's the thing. You have to just let it go, man, and just enjoy the ride. If you can just enjoy the ride, it's so much better.
I let it go, and it was just like it got to a point it was so ridiculous. It's just like, sure, like, all right, you got it, man, you got it. It's, oh my god.
I don't know. I think, okay, the action sequences are all great. Now, how improbable they are is irrelevant. Okay? Because everything in all of these movies are improbable. Like,
sure,
there's a high chance that he just died on his first very easy mission, like most people would have. Okay,
I know, but I felt like, but he never fails.
That's not true. That's not true. He does sometimes fail, but never in the. It's always on the possible missions. It's never on. He fails in his very first mission. On the very first mission in the movie when he's trying to get
That's not failing.
He did fail.
No, he saved his buddy's life.
Well, he failed his mission. They even talk about that in the movie.
I'm not saying. Okay, he didn't fail though. He failed his mission. He didn't fail in life.
Well,
okay.
Well,
this is Ethan we're talking about, and Ethan doesn't ever fail. When he says at the end, who got them all? Who got all the bombs? The things? Ethan.
He did. No, you're right.
He's the hero we need. Like, Batman should just be Ethan, honestly. Maybe he is.
I think that. I'm sorry. Are you lost it? No, I see. I understand what you're saying, but you have to. If you can just turn off your brain for 2 hours, and not worry about the ridiculousness, and you don't have to care about anyone. Like, there's characters that die. There's usually once a movie there's a character that someone cares about that dies. Like Alec Baldwin died. Yeah, well, whatever. Like, his character died. I mean, it was sad, I guess, but not really. No one really cared. Like, they're 3 seconds after he died, they're jumping off planes and running down and climbing up elevator shafts, and they're doing actiony stuff, and that's kind of what the movie is. I really liked Henry Cavill. I think he could pull off the mustache where not a lot of other people could pull off the mustache. Will you give him that?
Yes. Yeah. The Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a good Texas Walker mustache face.
Yeah. He's Henry Cavill's an attractive dude.
Good looking guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's good looking. He's a good looking man.
Definitely the man crush of the show.
Oh yeah. He's very attractive. So yeah. I'll give him that, and he could pull off. There's not many people that could pull off the mustache with stubble. Yeah, he looked fantastic though.
Yeah, it was on point.
Yeah, he's also huge, which helps. So he's just obviously, I mean, he's Superman, So
yeah,
actual.
Yeah.
unlike Ethan Hunt, he's actually, Henry Cavill, actually Superman.
Did on purpose.
Yeah. And he was great. He was a villain that was fun to watch. Some of the villains in some of these that have been this guy's just the worst. He's just a moron. But he was entertaining because he was a very action oriented villain. Like he was in the thick of it. Like one of the best scenes is this, like that fight scene in the bathroom when they're fighting the Asian John Lark.
Asian John Lark. Oh yes.
Yeah, that scene was great.
Yeah.
Even though he beat the crap out of both of them, I was like,
Yeah, he
"Holy crap! This guy
destroyed
just
them.
destroyed both of these
Yeah.
dudes."
They're both on the floor. He was just like, he shakes his shirt or his
Yeah, when he at the very end, he kind of just like
he's like,
I'm just getting started.
He's like, this is even my final form. This is like my first form. I got 5 more.
Yeah, and they kind of like right before that, they kind of like look at each other for like a second. I'm like, Jesus, like this guy. We thought we knocked him out, trying to take his face, and then he just beats the crap out of both of them. Just both of them. That was great.
Yeah.
And see, though, that's a great fight scene. Like as much as you. Like the story matters to you on most movies. Like you have to admit, like good action sequences make movies fun, and that was a great one. And there's a bunch of good ones in this movie, and that was a particularly good one.
Yeah, it was. That was a good fight scene.
Yeah, you can admit it. It's okay. It's okay to not like something as a whole.
Well,
and
I like
parts of it.
I mean, I just like how he destroyed them both. But yeah.
Yeah, he did, but that's what made it good. The fight scene isn't good if they just like double team him and just pounding his head in, right? The fact that he convincingly was like beating the crap out of both of them, like because it's not like because obviously both of these dudes are very physical and they fight a lot in their line of work, and it didn't look like that he was just doing normal stuff and they just looked weak for a bit. Like he looked like he was beating the crap out of both of them because he was just a more skilled fighter than they were.
Yeah, for sure. So, he definitely was.
Yeah. I liked that. Like that. I always like the little gadgets, the face machines where they take the faces. That's fun.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And see, it's ridiculous. And then even like
it's like face and voice.
Yeah, and they bring up in the movie how ridiculous it is. They literally they're just like Halloween group. They're just like making masks. They're walking around, and they expect people to believe that they're these other people because they're in a mask. So they bring up how ridiculous it is, but it's still like fun for the story because it is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and that's why I feel like I like this series because it realizes how absurd it is because it is literally just absurd.
It is absurd, definitely absurd.
Yeah, but they realize that, and it's like some of the characters they encounter are like, what are like this is you guys are idiots. Like how could this stuff possibly work? But it does. Yeah, it does somehow. So yeah, honestly, this is not a very spoilerable movie.
No.
So if you've listened to this part, I don't even think we've really given anything away that you didn't hear in non-spoilers. If you like action movies, if you're someone that likes action movie, you'll love this movie. Like you'll love it. I liked it, and I don't even like action movies because this is kind of like, for me, like I said, this is like a palate cleanser where I can just not think about anything and just watch, and that's my movie-going experience for this time. So I'll leave it at that. Ollie gave it 2 stars. I gave it 3. That's okay. I'm not mad at you for 2.
I'm not mad at you for 3.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we can agree then.
Agreed.
All right. So you would say this is your favorite movie of the year?
No.
Wow, decade. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Okay. All right. That's it. That's the show for this week, guys. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, question of the week. Question of the week, Ollie.
Question of the week.
There's been a lot of talk about Nexus of Fate. And the question is not whether we're going to... Is that the end of the question of the week?
Yeah.
Okay. We're not going to talk about the B word because that's ridiculous.
Okay.
If you are
Okay.
listening to this podcast, you're talking about the B word. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on. Come on. It's not unnecessary.
Even Maggie would bark at you if you talked about the B word.
Yes, and she doesn't bark at anyone except earlier when she barked for a second.
I think she heard the AC turning on.
Okay, she doesn't like the AC. Okay, good to know.
No, she's back. She's actually back now.
Okay.
Anyways, go ahead.
So, but because of Nexus of Fate's interesting origin of existence, buy a box promo for Core 2019, there's a fixed number of these in existence currently. This can kind of create a perfect storm for this card to be the most expensive card in Standard for the foreseeable future. The question is, how high will it get in Standard? So,
All right.
Ollie and I have discussed...
So we're doing the opposite of how low can you go. This is how high can you go.
How high can you go? And Ollie and I have discussed a line. And we're going to pick either over or under this line. And the line for Nexus of Fate's peak price, retail price in Standard, is $49.50. Ollie, are you taking over or under?
Over. The snap over.
Snap over. All right,
All right.
go ahead.
I'm going to say it's over because people already hate on this card and whatever, and it's already done decently well. But this card does well at GP or any other future big event. People love the casual community, the casual communities, the FNM people, or even some competitive players love playing Turbo Fog. Man, Turbo Fog and Mill is one of the
two very popular casual strategies.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yes,
that's true.
And this fits perfectly into that type of shell. So if it does well, not only do you have the casuals and playing it, but now you have competitive players playing it. It's plus how it's acquired. It's definitely a recipe for a card that can hit over $49.50. So
okay,
mine is over.
Okay, I think you actually have some solid points because this is kind of a perfect storm card where the price could be ridiculous.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to use your own argument from earlier in the podcast against you now because I'm going to say under. I'm going to say it does not reach $50 in its time in Standard. This is a 7 mana cost card that ultimately can only be a component to another deck. It's not a key. It's not like the kill card or the winning card in a deck on its own. It just saw a lot of success at the Pro Tour, and it got a lot of eyeballs. More than its time in existence so far. The amount of copies that exist right now are the amount of copies that are going to exist going forward in Standard. So it's not like the copies of Nexus of Fate are going to dry up. They already are. So it's not like they're going to get... It's not like less of them are going to exist. The maximum amount of these cards are going to exist. We just saw on the biggest possible stage, which is a Pro Tour, especially one where it was team, you had 15 rounds, or 14 rounds of Standard plus the top 4. Right? 14 rounds we got to see people playing this card. Maybe not necessarily on coverage, but even still in the tournament all the way through. And it had a lot of success. There were a lot of people that day 2'd playing specifically Nexus of Fate as a key card in their deck. And yet, even after all of that, the price you can readily find these online is around $30. So even if this would have to be the de facto best card in Standard for it to reach that $50 mark, because I think there's a good chance that the success that we just saw this card have at the Pro Tour is the most success that it's going to have of any of it. As you were saying, if you want to beat Nexus of Fate and Turbo Fog specifically, man, there's a lot of ways you can do it. There's a lot of tools, more tools than ever have existed to beat this archetype, if you are interested in doing so. So, Do I think it can go up? Yes. Star City Games has it listed, which of course is what I work for $44.99 on their website right now. There's none in stock. You can find these on TCG Player, eBay. You can find them for $30 if you want them, like a bunch of them. So that's kind of the standard that I'm using right now. I don't think it reaches 50. I think it can go higher, but I think we're pretty close to the peak. Now, I also think the floor for this card is very high. I don't think it can go much lower than like $20 or $25, period. But I think we're kind of in the zone that this card is going to live for its duration standard. So I'm going to say under $49.50.
All right.
Yeah. I think you have a good argument too, Ollie. And I'm not... This is one, honestly, where I wouldn't bet all my money on my stance. I think I'm right, but I'm less sure than I normally am when we have our questions.
That's good. This means it'll be a good one. Let's see what the people of the internet and Thinktwice think.
Yeah, so we really want to hear what you guys have to think. Ollie, where can people find you on Twitter to let you know?
Twitter.com/Ali Aintrazi or twitch.tv/Ali Aintrazi. Also, my article this week it's now they're at Cool Stuff Incorporated. Cool Stuff instead of Gathering Magic. They come out every time, still Friday. But my article this week is about beating Nexus of Fate and what cards you can use to beat it. So you're publishing an article to help my argument. Thank you. How to beat Nexus of Fate.
That's so kind of you. Yeah.
Or the opposite. You'd be like, oh my god, there's a whole article on how to beat this deck. Let me buy the cards.
Dude, that doesn't make any sense at all.
It does. How to beat Death Shadow. There's plenty of ways. Here's how to beat Death Shadow.
There's a lot of ways to beat Death Shadow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways. The 2 of the 3 best removal spells in the history of Magic beat Death Shadow. That's Swords to Plowshares and Fatal Push. The best one in history does not ever beat it, but the other 2 do.
Yeah.
All right.
Condemned does too in Modern, but yeah.
Yeah. Man, if you really want to get really, really specific, you can isolate Death Shadow. That's from the newest set. So if you're just rolling up, you're like, I just got these isolates out of a booster pack. Yep, you can throw it in, that'll do it. All right. You can find me on Twitter at jparnell1. I'm also the host of the Commander Versus series on StarCityGames.com and YouTube every week. We are playing this past week, we played the Commander 2019 or 2018 pre-constructed decks. I thought it was a pretty entertaining video. Obviously, I'm slightly biased, but I'm also not going to tell you if I don't think we have a good one. I'll just tell you to go watch it and not tell you how good it is. So I think this one's pretty good and pretty entertaining. For the next couple of weeks, we venture into the Coliseum of Randomness, so that is a fan favorite and a cast favorite, so we always have a lot of fun with this. If you want to contact the show, you can do so at ThinktwiceMTG on Twitter. And of course, if you want to send us a personal message, thinktwicemtg@gmail.com. You can find the show on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and any other platform. If you would like to hear it on, please let us know. Please take time to leave us a review or at least a 5-star rating if you enjoy the show. 5-star ratings mean a lot, and so do reviews, and so do likes and shares. So if you are able and willing to do any of those things, we'd really appreciate it. You can also find us on patreon.com/thinktwicemtg. We have a lot of great rewards tiers. Some of those we are looking into and might be juicing up a little bit. We've had some discussions that we might be announcing soon. I'm not going to tell you what they are yet, but maybe soon. In a good way. Only good things for you guys. The $1 tier is the Augur Bolas tier that gets you early access to the show, as well as access to our exclusive Thinktwice Discord channel, which includes our Animal Lovers sub-channel, where we have a lot of cute animal pictures every week, and it's my favorite part of the entire Discord. We talk about Magic a lot, too. Every other channel in there is about Magic. That's not true. There's a couple of other ones. There's movies, there's memes, there's the fitness one. I don't post in the fitness one because I have literally nothing to do. I'd be like, yeah, I only had 3 Oreos today. So that's really pretty good. We do have, as I said at the top of the show, 3 new Patreon supporters: Robert B, Chris C, and David R. Thank you guys very much for your support. Welcome to the Think Twice family. Can't wait to see you guys in Discord, especially if you have animals and want to see those posted. Specifically, we have a Discord Animal of the Week this week, as usual. And the winner of the Discord Animal of the Week this week is Elvis,
Okay, never mind.
the snaky snake.
I was gonna do a drum roll, but
No, I just did it though. I just
I know,
ripped
it's fine.
the Band-Aid right
congrats, Elvis.
off. Elvis.
Congrats.
I'm not a huge like big snake fan, but Elvis is a little snaky snake, and he's very cute. He's got a cute little face. I would hold him in my hand, and he would only scare me a little. Yeah, I like his little face thing.
The snake. Well, his name also makes it like.
Yeah,
Not scary,
Elvis. Yeah, exactly. And who could be scared of Elvis? No one.
The snaky snake.
The only thing that can be scared of Elvis is a peanut butter and banana sandwich or a Twitter. Was that joke over your head? Did you just laugh because you thought you were supposed to laugh there?
No.
Okay, good, great. We want to give a shout out to our graphic designer Amber West. You can find her work at amberwestdesign.com. We also want to thank our director and producer John Choi. You can hear his work.
Make the best music.
In the question of the week section. I haven't listened to the last 2 because I've been out, have not had a chance to listen to the podcast, but I'm sure that I hate them. So,
Love.
there we go. We also want to thank our agent of Bolas producers, Daniel Hunt, Matt Lindell, and Liam Whelan. Thank you guys very, very much for your support. We could not do the show without you. And of course, we could also not do the show without the best co-host in the entire world, Maggie May Moo.
Dang.
And Maggie was helped earlier. She was defending me. I heard her.
Yeah. I wish I get her to bark on command, but she's just over here waiting for me to take her out.
Lazing about.
So-
All right. Well, you're a pretty good co-host too, so thank you as well.
Thank you, Parnell.
Oh,
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I love you too.
Oh, thanks, buddy. And we love you guys too. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Bye, guys.